Okay, when last we met, we were opening a JPEG in Photoshop. We were duplicating the background copy, and we're making selections about cropping. And I had mentioned that if you want to crop, you have a couple of different options. You can crop and delete the pixels or not delete the pixels. If you have an older version, my suggestion is to do the entire thing uncropped, save it as uncropped, and then save a version cropped. In this case, I don't want to delete the cropped pixels, so I'm going to leave it like this and apply the transformation by checking here or hitting return. Layer 0 has now what was the background, locked background layer, and it's now converted to layer 0. So we need to put that back to a locked background by going layer, new background from layer, and then we're good. Okay, all right, and now we need to start adding, we need to make this black and white, and there's a couple of ways to do it. One way to do it is hue saturation, and just drag the saturation down. Oops, layer hierarchy. I don't like this way because it's just a slider. Like I got no other choices, kind of on or off. So I'm going to delete that layer and show you the other way to do it that I think is a little more efficient is adding a black and white layer, third one over, second row in the adjustments panel. And also you get 6 different options where you can go and you can change the way that the values look in black and white. There are some pull down menus that you may want to try. Now he's a chocolate lab. Infrared. Yellow, you can do all sorts, you can hit auto. But this is a great way, and it's as close to being in a dark room as possible, which I really like about it. These are very reminiscent of the filters that you would put and use with your film. So now it's good. Now I need to combine the contents of these 3 layers into a new layer without merging. Why don't I want to merge these?
You can't go back.
You can't go back, right? And you might change your mind, and the best way to establish a workflow is to do it in a non-destructive manner, so you can always change your mind. So what is the shortcut to do a stamp visible layer? Yep, Shift Command Option E. And this makes a stamp visible, which is all of the information in these 3 bottom layers in one layer. It is not merge visible or merge layers. Those are no. This way you have everything that you've started with and you're just building on top of it. Yes, your layer can get, your file can get a little big, but it's okay. Unless you're like me and you leave your hard drive in another school, you're probably okay. So let's switch to our Move tool. Shortcut is V. And the next thing we're going to do is add a filter. So normally when you add a filter to just a normal pixel layer, what'll happen is you can go and let's do like polar coordinates. And you hit OK. That may or may not be what you want. But if you keep going and you're like, okay, I'm going to add some vector shapes and then I'm going to brush some stuff on. Okay, make a new layer and add some, woohoo, brush some stuff, woohoo. As you keep going, the option of taking that filter out is gone, right? You can go back up in your history to where it happened, but wouldn't it be cool if you could make that filter so you could adjust it at any time? Right. So we're going to convert this layer by going Filter, Convert for Smart Filters. And that gives us a little, this little smart object thumbnail. And now, if we're doing something crazy and we go to Distort Polar Coordinates, we can turn that on or turn that off at any times. We can always adjust that, right? Which I super love. You can also select it and throw it in the trash. For this project, we're going to go Filter, Find Edges, Stylize, Find Edges. Now, to me, that's a bit extreme. Not exactly the look I'm going for. So you can change the layer blending mode of the stamp visible layer to overlay, soft light. Take the opacity down a little bit. Oh, sorry, I have to turn these on. Overlay looks pretty good. I'm getting like some of the nice line quality there. Let's see what multiply looks like. Multiply is a little darker, neither here nor there. What's the shortcut for going through this list of,
Plus or minus?
yeah, shift plus or minus. We'll go through, oops, got to have the move tool selected. So you can go through and say, that one's pretty cool. That one isn't doing nothing. Sounds like we have like a badger.
That was really aggressive.
That was a very aggressive ringtone. If you want to take the opacity of the layer down, you can also. You can turn the layer, the filter, I'm sorry, on and off so you can see the effect. And you can decide if you like the layer blending mode and the opacity settings. I'm okay with that. Now we need to add another adjustment layer. So we're going to go over here to the adjustment panel and add the threshold. This is also a pretty extreme adjustment. So we'll go into our properties window and play around with this a little bit. You rather have more detail than less, right? If we go like this, I mean, we have like an eye, but we don't have a nose. So you can adjust that. And then we're going to do the same thing in regards to the layer blending mode. Try overlay, soft light. Soft light looks pretty good. You can also take the opacity of the layer down if you lose a lot of information. Okay, looking good. Now we need to make a second stamp visible layer because we need all of this information to go. Now I'm going to turn off these 3 layers so that they're not, nope, I need those on, never mind. I'm going to just go Shift Command Option E and name this Stamp Visible 2. Right? So we have our original background, a copy of this background, a black and white adjustment layer, a first stamp visible with smart filters, find edges, a threshold adjustment layer, and another stamp visible layer. Right? All right. So now we are ready to add color because we've got it conditioned and it looks the way we want. So we go to Layer, New, Fill Layer, Solid Color. And I can call this maybe Back and pick any color I want. Let's see. He likes this color, so that's the one we'll do. Now, you can't see what's under here, right? Some people like to just work on this layer mask with the brush, black and white foreground and background, and they like to work this manner where with black in the foreground, they try and kind of guess where it is. That's too hard. I don't know where it is, okay? So I'm going to undo that. This is the pixel thumbnail. This is where you can change the color at any point. And this is the layer mask thumbnail. So with this layer mask thumbnail selected, you can go to your properties panel and hit invert. And that changes it from showing all to hiding all. Now with your brush tool, black and white foreground and background, you put white in the foreground and you can work in an additive way, which I think is a little bit more intuitive. Sound good? Now I'm using a Wacom, which is pressure sensitive, and I have like a lead foot hand. So it's going to be a little aggressive. Now if something happens, someone calls your name and you're like, what? No problem. If you look at the layer mask, white is revealing the color, black is still hiding. So if you want to hide that, hit X, put black in the foreground, and you can just hide that. Now, remember that we all had our Warhol inspiration. So if we look up Warhol, go to images, find the one that you just love, and that can be your inspiration. I think I'm going to go today with Gold Marilyn. Thank you, Marilyn. Ooh, go with this one. I'm going to drag that off to the desktop. In Photoshop, I'm going to go File, Place, and place that image. When you place an image, you can resize it if you need to, and you have to hit Return to accept it. And now it is a smart object at the top of the layer, and I just want to reference it so when I'm painting, I can say, oh, okay, this is what I really love. Are there additional lines? Are there vector shapes? Different things like that. The one I showed you guys of Mick Jagger had these vector shapes in the back, and I'll show you guys how to make those too. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off now. And then what I would do to continue painting is go to Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color, Eyes, hit OK. Choose a color. Let's see. Like that. If you want to sample directly from the Marilyn shot, double click on this pixel thumbnail here, and then move the mouse over the Marilyn, click, and it picks that color. And then I'm going to turn Marilyn off. How do I invert this layer mask so I can see? Yeah, how do I change it to black?
The arrows.
Invert. Right here. Or Command I. And then what do I grab? Brush. Black, white. White in the foreground. Okay, that may be a little intense, right? Not quite the look we're looking for. So once you've done his eyes, and they can, be as messy as you want, make them have fabulous alien bug eyes, right? You can change the blending mode of this layer also. Multiply works pretty good. Soft light. Overlay. Change your tool to the move tool, and you can hit Shift plus and minus to go through. And you can find all different options in here that will go with the look that you are doing. So I kind of like that one actually. That looks pretty cool. So that's pin light, and I would probably want to make pin light my choice for the other ones too, so that has a consistent look. The background I just want to keep orange. Okay? Any questions on how to get this part started? Yes?
Instead of using the scrolling through the list of stuff, couldn't you just lower the opacity of the color?
You could. You could. That's going to be a different effect, because right now what I'm changing is the way that this color, this is our, what I think it's, you have your base color, your applied color, and your result color. So this is taking into consideration all of these other layers. If you just change the opacity of the brush, in this case, because you're working on a layer mask, let's see, if I get my brush and I go up here and I change the opacity to 50. Let's see, why is it not? It is kind of showing up, but it's not going to give you the same effect. The paint still looks as if it is sitting on top. It's not actually affecting the pixels below. That's a good question, though. All right, so to finish this off, you're going to make a couple new fill layers. And what I'd like to do is just pause this for a minute and go through how to add some different vector shapes. Okay?